Gary's with us. Gary is in Kansas City. Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Team Ramsey. Honor to speak with you.
You too.
I wanted to just go over what's in my life and my brother's lives, a little bit of a complex question we need answered regarding my mom who died a couple of months ago and some of the fallout from that. Oh, thanks.
What happened? What did she pass away from?
I think officially it was COVID. However, there was more to it. She had a lot on her mind. She was dealing with my dad who had dementia. She was lived a life of service and entertaining for us, and just provided a life that she was a very joyful person, and a lot of friends, a lot of great relationships she established, and we were just blessed for her. A couple of weeks ago, you mentioned what we inherit from our parents. A big cash nest egg and all. Maybe that's not so good, but instead is better a work ethic, and I think we got that from my parents. God bless them.
Amen.
Anyway, we miss her fiercely, and so it's sad. Part of so that's joy, but there's a sad part that we're trying to work through. She was scammed the last 2 years of her life, pretty, and she bought into it pretty deeply. And we were sort of tracking it, but not not as close as we should have. As I'm remote from her, I have some Mega Million scam or something got into her head, and she was very concerned about providing some kind of inheritance for us.
Is your dad still alive?
He is, and yes, he's with us, and my middle brother is really stepped up, and he's doing dad, basically taking the place of what my mom was doing.
So did she lose all of their assets?
In a word, yes.
Okay.
She sold a house about a year and a half ago. All the proceeds spent
and
off to this,
and there's nothing left but debt.
The debt is not that. So the debt is like kind of small, but where we're going with this question is the ethics of it. So she had, in this scam, the scammers had convinced her to buy 3 iPhone 12s, and they would reimburse her in all this, and it was somehow how she was going to pay the taxes as well. That's where a lot of the money apparently went. So she bought these 3 iPhone 12s. They're $1,000 a piece, and a big cell company, or a big one of the big ones, now has this bill out. She wasn't getting the installments of funding that were said to be coming from the scammers.
Of course.
So at the point where she bought these phones and then, of course, shipped them off, all at her expense, with the cell phone provider companies or whatever. They got 2 free phones. She kept one of them, and now she wasn't going to pay the financing. You're finance these things, and then she was, I guess, so she didn't pay the $3,000 off. We still have this $3,000 bill, and there's nothing to be redeemed as far as her credit, because her credit's shot. She had a great credit. She did great things with her money through her life.
When you pass away, Gary, what you own stands good for what you owe. And so she has a $3,000 debt. Did she own, your dad and her own anything?
He's got a car. There's little penny any stuff that is around a car. There was some hard assets that were able to liquidate in the event that wasn't even to be done, but we weren't really interested. They come after her estate. I guess
yes.
that's where.
That's all they can do. They can come after her estate. And if you guys sold an antique dresser for $10,000 and kept that money instead of paying this bill, then they would have recourse against you guys.
Okay, so she saddled us with this. It sounds like.
Yeah, what you own stands good for what you owe when you pass away. But your kids do not inherit debt. But your kids will not get an inheritance until the debt is paid out of the things that they owned, your mom and dad owned. Where is your dad living?
He's in a memory care facility.
Okay. All right.
So he's got a
Is
pension
there a
that
checking
covers
account
that.
with $3,000 in it?
Yes, there's that.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of. My brothers and I are all.
If this is the
doing
only
pretty
debt that there is, you're going to
Mhm.
have to pay that debt in order to clear the rest of the assets, even though they're penny ante.
Mhm.
It's not ethics; it's the law.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're probably for $3,000 not going to chase you guys down and, put you in a headlock and try to get the $3,000 out of you as a practical matter. But that's technically the way this works, and so morally the way this works.
Understood.
Yeah, you're gonna have the unhappy experience of completing the scam.
Right. Goodness. Okay. And how prevalent is this? Is this a
Very prevalent.
Do I need to get, as I retire from my military career, should I go into detective work and cyber and regarding trying to protect elders from their
The only problem is the people that would be paying you are broke because they've been scammed. But yeah, it's pretty prevalent. That's a pretty standard. The iPhone scam, that whole thing, that's fairly normal. We hear it, sadly, more often than we should. And it's pretty prevalent. But I don't know whether you can make an income doing it or not. That's a whole nother discussion. So if you suspect that a loved one is being scammed, suggested steps?
I think you have to have a sit down with them and say, hey, I think something's fishy here. Can we dig into this? And try not to put them on the defensive, but ask some questions, dig in, do a little bit of your own version of a private investigator and dive into it and then show them, hey, this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And many times they just need somebody else to kind of look at it and go, hey, this doesn't seem right. And I think that's the first thing I do. And if it's not right, I'd say, hey, this is a bad idea. We're going to get you out of this. Let me help.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's a certain amount of embarrassment there.
Oh, always.
Think about that. So go in a little easy. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of talking to my father. If he were to have that situation, and I'm going to have to come in there and not embarrass him, not make him feel like he was totally duped, make the bad guy, not them the bad guy. That would be my approach.
That's exactly right. That's exactly how you do it. And it's really not hard to research these scams.
That's correct.
A simple Google search will pop up in front of you, and Mega Millions scam, Spanish letter scam, Nigerian letter scam. There's several versions out there, and the people get sucked into all kinds of different things. And if you have enough information, where there's cell phone and Mega Millions both mentioned, all you gotta do is type that in, and boom, it'll pop up, show you exactly what they're doing, how they're working it, what's going on, and then you just can send that link and go, listen, this is what's happening to you.
Yeah, let's get you out of this.
And so, you didn't do anything wrong.
No.
You were just trying to leave an inheritance. What a horrible motivation.
It's unbelievable.
But the number of times I've seen people, in the name of leaving an inheritance to their children, get into stuff they should not get into is, over 30 years of doing this, it's all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Bad financial products, real straight up scams like that lady got scammed, but all in the name of, I want to leave the kids something, which is a misguided thing to start with. The most important thing you can leave them is to not do that kind of stuff.
Yep. I've learned this, if it's too good to be true, it's almost always too good to be true.
And if it smells fishy, there's fish involved. I mean, come on.
True. That's true.
If you think, I got a bad feeling. You know why you got this just felt weird. You know why it felt weird? Because it was weird.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it felt weird.
Yeah.
And trust yourself,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So, I'm a big nerd and I read a lot. I'm reading a book right now by a physicist. And it's legendary. You talk about Sharon, Dave's wife Sharon. She's got incredible, great common sense. You always talk about that feeling. You say it in the way that I can't say it, but you can say it. It's pretty
feeling.
There it is.
There it is.
And but there's actually, the physicists have done research on this. Real quick, they put heart monitors on world-class grandmaster chess players to find out if that gut feeling, is that a gut feeling, or is it actually tied to the same mechanism that we kind of say, well, I logically thought through this decision. Long story short, the grandmaster chess player's heart rate spiked every time in the match before they made an incorrect move. And the conclusion was that gut feeling, that's actually your brain sending a physical response to your body, and your heart is warning you
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't
And
do
so I just wanted to point out that when you have a bad feeling, don't put that off as a gut thing, as some mysterious thing. That's your brain and your body combining to go, stop.
Yeah. But I had a weird feeling about him. You know,
Well,
that's because he's weird.
right.
You know,
That's
that's just,
exactly-
you know, that's the thing. It's just trust yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, because you know that about 20 times while that lady was sending off that money of those cell phones and selling her house to do this, that she had those things. You know, she had an inkling that this was wrong. And so the way you can step in is to tap into that and say, you got to trust yourself. Because yourself is telling yourself,
Yes.
this is a bad deal. This is a bad thing. Trust yourself. And I used to say, trust your gut instinct. And my friend who's a pastor said, that's not your gut. That's the Holy Spirit. Don't call the Holy Spirit your gut.
I
So
agree.
trust God's Spirit that's in you, which will speak to you and say,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.